Part 2, final ending of either sign the deal or go with the other one. I suppose most of you would ask why. Why bother sticking around or letting her stay or even allowing her the opportunity to even fix things? Give her the boot, dump her, what are you waiting for? Man up. You all are also right that it is indeed easy. So, let's do that. Where does that get us, or more accurately me? A court date for sure, divided family immediate or otherwise, a strain on finances that would cascade from everything to mortgage to toilet paper. A roll of the dice in court, even in spite of what evidence that I have, would be contingent to what the judge had for breakfast, her love life the previous night, or her views on old-fashioned ways of thought. But let's assume this even goes my way. What then? Well, I can't control her nor her actions, hence me even being here. So, let's assume she decides or just eventually hooks up with some nice guy and all is well. Of course, there is the chance she gets involved with someone who is abusive, alcoholic, a drug addict, or other charming quality. What to do? Well, I could try to prove it but end up failing. Then have to tolerate my children being around someone who is completely out of my control or influence. So yes, I am hoping and trying to work for the best. I don't know if I am with someone who is truly despicable or what, but I do know that this forum, and most of the morally sound people of Earth, would condemn me if I abandoned her after a car wreck that left her crippled or otherwise incapable of living without assistance. So why should her mental health status be treated any different? I am not saying this will work, and if things do get too damn hard, I'll do what must be done. But if people try to no ends to help a son or daughter out of drug addiction or financial ruin, or an alcoholic or gambling parent change their ways, or any other person who you love or loved, why is my situation so different or immoral? In my youth I was reckless and apathetic to whoever I might have hurt. It was not until I hit rock bottom that I began to change my ways. I developed a lot of characteristics I never thought imaginable. People do things for a reason, and time will tell if my wife's behavior is just the pass down of abuse she sustained during her childhood. And unlike others I have encountered, I have from time to time caught a glimpse of her self-awareness. I will not dismiss the possibilities regarding her well-being and intentions. Maybe finally someone taking a stand is what is needed to take the first step. Had someone been there for her in her youth who would have fought the good fight, then maybe things would be different for her, past, present, and future. That I'll always be on alert regardless of what happens, for better or for worse. Today she goes to her coerced therapy session due to her behavior recently, and the threat of me calling the paramedics. Of course, she has decided to throw in a monkey wrench to this as well. I still have not given her any of the documented materials, and she seems to have accepted this, but she now has indicated that she wanted my notebook journals regarding this that contain what I would perceive as sensitive information, claiming that this information will help her at therapy even though a majority of the problem I explained to her that I had in concerns, past and present, were prevalent prior to us even getting married or her EA. The more I say no though, the more irritated she gets. All material is either here with me at work, a place she can never get into, or at an undisclosed location. Time will tell, as this is an adjustment to having a lack of control or need to purge any and all proof for obvious reasons. I did cite the betrayed spouse's Bill of Rights for this maneuver. Certain sensitive material of merit where she mentioned feeling X are highly guarded, as so she cannot claim that the marriage or my behavior is what made her feel this way. A personal document of hers from her teens is also on lockdown that reinforces her thoughts about self-harm well before we even met. What in her behavior elevates frustration for me. Just recently she finally removed her EA partner from her FB page. But the months prior to that were met with objection and the claim, but I'm not even talking to him. NC across the board just didn't sink in, and I got pissed about this a whole being able to see pictures of my wife and children at his leisure if he wanted to. Her reason for the delay: 1. To piss me off since she was mad at our situation and her residual unhappiness from my failures at meeting her needs. 2. If our marriage went kaput and bombed out, she'd have someone to talk to since he was a good listener and friend, blah, blah. So, this instance became self-defeating. A catalyst for our current issues was still present and became an anchor for my frustration, thus causing arguments. So in turn her prophetic intention would have been met. Metaphor: I am an abusive alcoholic, and after denying the consumption of alcohol for months while supposedly on the wagon and lying about it, I finally am able to honestly be done drinking. But I refuse to discard the remainder of what is in the house and keep it to deliberately piss off my wife or whoever may be angered by keeping it, and mention that I will turn to it if or when I feel stressed enough to need to consume it. I am oblivious that I am the one causing the stress. Know what I mean? I suppose at the end it is a matter of needs versus wants. I don't need her, as I have basically shouldered this year's responsibilities in near its entirety. I'm not afraid of meeting someone new myself or getting the physical need for intimacy met. I am not keen on seeing her move on, but it does happen in these cases. I feel it is and was the effort and experiences that we shared when things were at the best, and the great sense of joy I felt during these moments. I often say to myself, what am I doing, and proceed with the face palm. And for all things big or small, she has equaled them in a positive manner. At one time this woman fought tooth and nail to aid me in getting full custody of my eldest son, fought for his mother to get into his life, extended her affection towards him. But then this is equaled by some very bad actions, horrible ones. She must have at one time cared, so what changed? Why so angry? She has several times in the past stressed values regarding family structure, and her lack thereof during her childhood, only to introduce stressfulness and anger. So, what changed? She hated, and I mean hated, the fact that her father was unfaithful to her mother and blames it mostly for the hell she went through during her upbringing. Could her anger be now some sort of self-reflection of guilt or shame that she became the one thing she despised the most? What changed? Before children, marriage, work, homeowning, and all that other BS that gets in the way of life. Like many others here, we were on cloud nine. And the one thing I will always remember about our early days was that we simply enjoyed each other's company, and had what I thought was the rare combination of being in love, in relationship, and best friends and family. Over the years I knew this would wane, but could recognize what was obscuring my view of the dynamic. But every so often this began to be again, lovers, husband and wife and friends. However fleeting it was, I craved these moments and had faith that eventually, after a stretch of hard work raising children and life events, that we could once again be free to enjoy life on our own terms. I thought I had the perfect partner once, and still think the potential is there, just buried under resentment, stagnation, and some A55 monkey that filled a void and proceeded to accept her invitation to her heart. So, what changed? Maybe I am just stupid, huh? She has made it clear what she wants in terms of our relationship. More dates and excitement. I have no problem meeting these needs and agree wholeheartedly. However, planning adult time outside the house for just the two of us is difficult, with 4 children and only one trustworthy party to rely on for childcare, which is equally difficult due to this party not wanting or seeming to want to take our children for an extended period of time. Overnight stays or long weekends are slim picking, if any. The other is the cost, a burden that befalls me to yield. I never complained about her spending until this debacle, but reviewing the last 2 years' worth has shown a 1-for-1 ratio. 4 in, 4 out, 15 in, 15 out. And it isn't being stashed, it is just gone. So, she doesn't consider dinner and a movie too exciting, fun but not exciting, nor do I. Then there is the issue of having to perform nearly all the coupled chores and activities that involve us all. Laundry, dishes, general pickup, trash, outside work, making of meals when home, all 3 for the day, entertaining the children, and so much more. I am exhausted after dropping the kids off as it is, or simply do not have the resolve or excitement anymore to challenge this. I did at one point, but just got wore down with stress. As for trying to make changes to support her emotional needs, I simply was self-conscious about trying and what she would think. After a discussion about this, I picked one of the most obscure but romantic wineries in the area. The result: she made comments about what I didn't get done in lieu of concentrating on her and our date, and found out soon after that she posted about our date on FB as if it was just her that went out, no mention of me. That hurt. And while also on our date, she kept checking her damn phone, the main avenue of her cheating. I had no clue if her EA was over and felt disheveled. For the child sitter part, she exclaims it should be me that arranges it, as she wants to see me be the one who takes the initiative on this activity. She works nearly full-time but has contributed nothing, and I mean nothing, towards our household. The excuse is that she has a Capital One 360 account, like a checking and savings account, that she was putting money in for savings for the last few years. Supposedly this account is frozen due to a credit card bill needing to be paid off. I do not believe this, and when I confront for evidence of this freeze yet again, I am met with anger and irritation, and this is after I push past the excuses. What household chores? Let's bypass making a list and just say all. The only time she participates is on the 3 or 4 occasions company arrives. Everything else was, and still is, left to me. This is not an exaggeration. This has been one of the hurdles she fails to recognize, as I can't allow for the children to live in squalor or unsanitary condition and have to get crap done. And no, I am not an OCD type clean guy either. As for getting remarried, it will never happen. And this is not a hyperbole, it just will never happen again. Dating and other stuff, yes, but never to remarry. Currently she has finally started to open up a little bit, but it seems this is only for the sole purpose of her getting back the sensitive material and documentation I have collected since this started, and for other matters she is afraid to deal with. Even though I have not used them or blackmailed her into anything, she will not accept this and has bet the farm I can't work to get past this until I know these things are destroyed. This statement could be honest, but logic suggests otherwise. I have said, go transparent, come totally clean, seek therapy, and provide effort for your family's needs. These requests are either dismissed or mailed in, and she is actually getting mad that I just do not roll over when we talk about this and my refusal to give her what she wants. So, after 8 months of near solid lying, secrecy, and other problems, and in spite of me trying during that time to open up, I am now the bad guy because I want to see and feel her effort in rebuilding trust. Her logic is bunk. She is still trying to exert her will. After her therapy, she came home to talk about it, and the tone was definitely tense. She lamented that she did not appreciate me telling her what to feel or how she should feel. This statement is true, but it lacks context. I have said that feeling entitled for her affair, justified for her abusive tendencies, self-righteous for her violent outburst, ignored due to her lack of effort, and various other destructive and negative habits and actions is indeed wrong. She is pushing though, but while I have the factual caught in the act non-exaggerated "this is what you did" evidence, she is still trying to cake-eat for the most part. My wife needs to find out how to make herself happy, while not at the expense of others. I was pushed but had help in pushing back. I was able to defeat her lies and recognize them more easily when they occurred. A year ago, I would have dismissed her behavior as just a woman letting her expression get the better of her and whatever other label society would use for her outbursts. But now, if it can't change, then I'll escape it and recognize what it was in hindsight, a severely toxic marriage. The last couple of months have been interesting to say the least. I got in contact with my mother who resides in Australia and told her what was happening. Simply put, she merely asked what I needed, money for a retainer fee. I asked a friend for additional assistance and got it as well. I asked her father and stepmother for help in getting the kids off to school in the morning, and they supported this request. Soon after, the wife shows me her texts between her and the collie OM, which clearly indicated that the relationship cooled off and died. Began a stretch of her acting inappropriate and me challenging her to change her behavior. This went on for a while, and although I was assertive and firm, I was reasonable and respectful, at least at first, when I brought my complaints to the table. The result was her wanting a separation. I agreed but made it a point that once gone she stays gone, and I divorced full bore. Of course, this got her to cool her head, if only for a moment. Since then, I caught her in so many lies it isn't even funny. She even started texting 2 guys and calling at least one of them. Armed with the tools that I learned from this place and using a VAR in strategic places, I was able to get the evidence and confront. Like always, she was surprised, then aggressive about who this guy was, and then relented when I refused to give her phone back, which was locked BTW. Anyway, I got her to unlock it, saw the pics, demanded she call him, and she proceeded to do so. He also responded to my messages about alerting his girlfriend about his activities. His response was that essentially, I was a screw-up and can't keep her happy. I suppose he is right, as I am not a clown. Talking with her about it, which had all happened yesterday, she says she has a sense of resentment towards me, with the reason being that since she said she wanted out, due to another man being present, that I refused to release the evidence and proclaimed that I will kick her out and take the children due to her neglectful behavior, and am blackmailing her and staying. Never mind the months and years prior of emotional abuse. And for the blackmail, I gave her back the recording and she never deleted it. I took it back soon after. I offered to pay attention to all the areas she claimed she felt empty in, to help her obtain a career, get physically fit. How is this blackmail? Unlike last time when I caught her in an online thingy, I shed not one tear, blubbered or otherwise bit of weakness. Supposedly she will have ready for me total access of everything, including her phone, on a moment's notice. She has also tried to re-establish some form of control and found it irritating that I have not budged. The surprise though is that I am going to proceed anyway without warning, Monday hopefully. If the money I get comes through, I should be all set, and the lawyer firm I wish to use is one of the best in New England. To finally have the freedom of peace of mind is exhilarating. My only concern is when, not if, but when she more than likely rubs in a new relationship in my face if I can handle it. But I can see the light, and my God is it beautiful. And to mildly add insult to injury, for she ended up draining most of her on-hand finances from nearly $6,000 to $500 to cover for van repairs, food costs, and other spending. With no money to afford a lawyer, at least out of pocket, I am looking forward to the proceedings once they commence. As far as documentation, I have about 15 80-page notebooks, emails, a 40,000-word document, pictures, established timeline, you name it. I knew it was coming. Last night came home from work, even called to let me know she'll be just a tad late because she got something to eat on the way and saw that nothing was available for the children's lunches. Although it was late, she wanted to go shopping then rather than in the AM. I made it known that I was concerned it was a BS ploy, or at least felt like one, as she could have gotten these things earlier in the day while she was out and about. Of course, she reassured me that she wouldn't call or whatever, a claim I immediately dismissed. She asked if I wanted to go with her, an invite I could not accept since the children were sleeping. It is what it is. She leaves and lo and behold she calls and makes sure to remain on the phone the entirety of the trip, saves for the actual shopping. Immediately after paying for the items, she made sure to call right back and stay on the line. Although I am sure this is simply more hoovering, I must admit that after being shut out for so long and dejected by her lack of effort, it did feel good to have my concerns placed first. Regardless, it was only fleeting, can't afford to get sucked back in. I must have one of those Sith Jedi masters as a wife. Well, she got the papers today, and for all the conflict I prepared myself for or anger came a very surprising response. She was numb, shocked, and unable to discuss anything about it. Her hands were trembling as she sifted through each page, only stating in redundant surprise about me seeking child support. I also believe seeing the lawyer's watermark, the resident pitbull firm mind you, also hit home. Now we made small talk but nothing significant. What next, people? Do I keep the pedal to the metal and unleash holy hell, or do I use diplomacy? She was preparing to go out this morning for some reason, and after she refused to stick around, I told her what was coming. It really didn't sink in, and she left for whatever reason she felt she needed to. She comes back, from what I expected as shopping, with 2 kittens. This is confusing and irritating to boot, for many reasons I am sure you can all figure out. Well, after spending the weekend at her mother's house, for house-sitting purposes, she has made the conclusion that this is the right thing to do. Still, when I press her for what I feel is the real reason why, another man, she dismisses it, and still hasn't come clean or gone transparent. And while medicating the new kittens she got, BTW, every time I entered the bathroom to see what was going on, she would hunch over as if to pet a cat, all the while clutching her phone in her lap to hide it. It is in some way amusing. I got the love you but not crap, and apparently it has been this way for a while. Whatever, she suggests going to a mediator versus a lawyer. Is this suggestible? I feel like I am in the driver's seat and do not want to relent that control so easily. She exhausted her funds, got further in debt, and is faced with a lot of demands via the lawyer's submission of the proposed divorce decree. She will be tasked with paying child support and partial household bills, for a time anyway, and with only a 2007 Honda van to lavish over, which she would not be in any position to afford. I simply see her just up and vanishing. Last night we talked, and she plans on living at her mother's house while also agreeing the children stay here with me. I can't say for sure there is a local OM, but I do know the choice between her coming clean and going transparent versus getting a divorce and leaving the kids behind, although preferable and fortunate, is rather disconcerting. I did take pleasure in telling her that for what is worth I hate her for all her destructive actions. Love, nature's way of tricking us to reproduce. After discovering a handwritten love letter to whomever it may be intended for, I began to get ill. I am sure it is for her California partner, but the illness feeling was not one of betrayal or hurt but moral disgust. She lamented to this new individual that she'd never cheat, hurt him, ask him to change, accept him for who he isn't. It is sickening. I almost want to revise the letter, like I'll never hurt you. Until it suits my needs, just ask my husband. All I have now is hate. I hate the wasted years of effort, the time lost at work that she said I needed to go to cause we needed the money. He lost time with my children, not watching them grow up, their school plays, the after-school activities. I hate this woman. I cannot wait for her to hit rock bottom. I will be there to gloat. Call it childish, call it immature, but I'll call it what it is, and ungrateful. See you next Tuesday, or can't understand normal thinking. And you know, on a personal note, I had a 6-month road job in Hawaii 2 years ago. Not once, not one goddamn time did I stray or even put myself into position to do so. Beautiful woman everywhere and nothing. When we first met, she was beautiful, and like most stories here, I was intrigued by her features as she had voluptuous curves in all the right places. Of course, 13 years and 3 children later, one tends to get a little fatigued by gravity, so to speak, and the external markings of pregnancy never went away. She also never lost the extra baby weight. But I didn't care, and in fact hardly noticed. Sure, I remembered what she looked like but did not flinch at the opportunity to sleep together, kiss, or anything with her. I soon realized that I definitely outranked her, and the last few weeks certain things have become visible. Listing them is not important, but it is the last step I think in letting her go, and self-destruct. I must say thank you to this online game OM and send him a thank you card. She was willing to pay any price for her happiness, and I am glad that, so far, I will keep the receipt of what she spent to obtain it. I just wanted the satisfaction of her telling me I was right the whole time despite the reaction I knew I'd have. She told me some things, about loving him and crap, and yes, it was awful to hear but relieving as well because I knew I wasn't crazy. So why do I hate her? Why can't I let it go? What am I thinking? Well, let me tell you, I hate her for the constant lies, the betrayal, the way she treated her stepson, my eldest, the way she abandoned my younger 3 and neglected their needs mostly for online time with random men she met on the internet. I hate the BS pictures she sent me when I was lonely in Hawaii compared to the all done up selfies. I hate how I did all the chores, all the fixing of the house, the car, the little things, the laundry. For blaming me for not having a career, for being overweight, for her unhappiness, for challenging her, for getting angry, for all the lost money I made cause we needed it to survive, for all the lost extra money she spent, wasted, all these years, all the lost time away from the family to go to work to make money that she said we needed, her lies to her family, her destruction of my personal belongings, her tempers and violence, her breaking household items, he getting me to take her side when I knew she was wrong, her telling these men how bad of a guy I was, her telling me her 8-month term pregnancy was lead to a stillbirth due to an assault from her ex-boyfriend leading to the baby's death before we got together, then seeing her vigorously attempt to set me up for DV charges, take my children away from me and find out the unborn child story was a lie, that she found an addict and 11-year younger unemployed doofus more appealing than me. I hate how she took my children's money, especially me eldest son's and his materials. I hate the false R in her mid-games and telling me she loves me but only when she needed something. I hate that I lost all my second shift friends from work, the 30 Kelvin as well, and went from a place where I was a respected veteran to a place I simply cannot stand, to the point of forcing myself to go to work. I hate how now she cares what her physical appearance matters now compared to when we were together and I got the normal, natural as his wife, and I didn't give two turds either. I hate that when I was in Hawaii I had not one affair or even thought about it, while all the other road job workers rubbed it in about how easy it was. I hate that I worked for nearly 3 months straight out there to stockpile money when I should have taken at least a few days off to enjoy the tropical paradise. I hate how I was the one who called the churches and food aids when times were tough, when she was still trying to leave me all those years ago and didn't know about it. I hate how I had till recently questioned if my daughter was really mine. Yes, she is. And lastly, but not finally, I hate how much of a fool I was for wanting her to stay with me, for our family, for us, for feeling like a failure when she rejected me all those months ago. I fought for this. So yes, one day I will let go of the anger, the hurt, the betrayal, and the memories of the good times that were indivisible from the abundant bad ones. I will be indifferent to her as she deserves. I will forget what she did and move on. And that will be the moment I end. Some people do not get the luxury of forgiveness. It's been done since February, but not disciplined in practice. For example, I have my own bank account, but how should we say be duped into thinking that we were in some sort of R and be willing to assist in what ways I could? Yes, it was effing stupid, so no need to address that. Right now, though she is close to being broke, and since she wished to keep the better of the two vehicles, I explain that she needs to pay for it, as well as partial joint bills and food, etc. I will say her frustration is satisfying but also angering. I like to see her frustrated since that was how I felt when there was not enough money, and maybe she gets it a little bit, but I get angry since the remedy for this is to work more, a charge that was made for me to do only to be rewarded with "you checked out or neglected me" crap. Well, awesome developments, peeps. I caught her re-engaging with her Kalia P, which started immediately after I served her with papers, the weekend she houses sit for her mother. I also discovered some written crap about the characteristics she wants in a man. But this time, thanks to the good folks here, my reaction and course of action will swift as it is stoic. God, I wish I found this site in January. Still, I can't help feeling just a little hurt and somewhat angry since these characteristics were the very same ones I had and were forced to recalibrate or abandon due to parenthood. Too funny. Last night, after going over the debt that has accumulated for the last year or so, a aha moment twinkled in her eyes, if just for a moment. The amount is not important, but the impact of it is, since Christmas is gone, other holiday and seasonal activities are not going to happen as well. Now the look of acceptance in the face of numerical truth was quite surprising and refreshing, if truth be told. She commented on me getting back my retainer for the lawyer and using that money to get through this hump, which is borrowed money anyways. These in conjunction in which she worked yesterday, as well as working more hours than scheduled since she, or as she put it last night, we needed the money. She also suggested that I go back to second to make more money. But since his behavior when this was the norm caused me to switch to first to begin with, I feel someone's stoic arrogance is finally cracking. I also got an apology for the "who neglectful father" crap. My thanks to her for that statement was just as indifferent. What a happy day. For me. Anywho, I got a heads up today about a FB post she put out on the 25th of October informing her social circle about us getting a divorce. She also started the separation apparently, citing changes in herself, my as expected upsetting response, and her nobility for not wanting to fight or add to the drama, as well as, for someone who was adamant about getting divorced, they sure suck at being prepared for it. The initial hearing was today, and even she knew since she was subpoenaed. During the morning, as I was getting me and the children ready, she had a shocked look on her face as to why I did not go to work, for court, and became instantly aggressive and pissed off that I did not tell her what I was doing. She made a mad scramble to get her information ready but was unable to, and sent me a text asking me to tell my lawyer to delay till she is ready. Well, since she wasn't there anyway, we had to, but she will be served a notice to appear or face being brought in cuffs. Also, she claimed her mother will not take her in as she doesn't want to get involved, yet has no exit plan, money or anything really. I have no idea what her thought process is, maybe to go haywire and run away. Who knows? Having a lawyer is awesome. I don't care how much it costs, worth every penny. Time to co the bully. Today, if she shows, will be the first day of court. She was already in a bad mood this morning, especially when I told her that as opposed to last week I was going into work for a bit. Now she had since October 10th to get her required info together. Then a week after she missed the initial hearing. Now we had no time to get all this together, or an outfit or whatever else she needed. Hell, she didn't even have the time to remove the selfies I found disrespectful from her FB page that were cropped to not show her being topless. But we had time to buy a headset for her online communication, you know, her affair medium of choice. Ring the bell and wish me luck. Well, I must admit it, I am, in a way, grateful for her actions today. Despite her irritation and angst towards me, she met me at the courthouse with an open mind and tears. She relented to my requests for motion, met with me and my attorney, agreed with my proposals, primary custody, exclusive use of the home. I agreed to take over the household debt from here on out, save for some minor back payments, remove the child support motion in conjunction with her waiving spousal support. She also agreed to take down the selfies of her on Facebook which were sent to at least one of the OMs, as well as end all communications via her online gaming shindig crap. As the Pro-C people went forth before us, we stepped outside for a smoke, and I got the idea she genuinely doesn't know what she wants to do, or in life, and even shed a little doubt about getting a divorce. I did offer my thanks for her selfless act, so far, and she replied she'd rather have the children see her in a good way some of the time versus some good and bad or unhealthy for most of the time. It actually felt like she was opening up to me. The initial hearing went quick and a follow-up will happen later. I was ready to unleash holy hell on her, and I think she knew it. I wanted revenge, I wanted acknowledgement. I wanted so much payback. But when she relented in every moment during this, I became more tempered and calmer, as if I was, well, I don't know, I'll have to think about it. And then after a few comments about our bonding life, we both became needy and came home and had slept together. Call it weak or whatever, but God, I needed to get laid. I couldn't fight the damn feeling. Stupid hysterical bonding. She wants to stay for the holidays but knows that I expect full effort for domestic duties, financial support for certain common use things, and full disconnection. And lastly but not least, I couldn't have done it without you all. No need to name names, you all had a helping hand in it. But I will keep on the offensive, collect information, strategic VAR placement, because you just never know, one way or another, it isn't over till it's over. She has almost no money and bills that have to get paid, vehicle taxes, re-registration, storage shed, and many others, yet she cannot even begin to do so. She hasn't, supposedly, asked her mother to live at her house yet, and states she already was told her mother did not want her to stay there nor wish to get involved. So even though she supposedly has no solid place to stay, she still submitted to the exclusive use of the house motion. She waived any push for spousal support, for now anyway, so no income will be received from me. If she does live with her mother, the back and forth traveling to her job will wear on her financially. Van with 200,000 miles eats lots of gas. She plans on staying at her current place of employ versus getting a transfer. She only wants some marital property for now, namely just one of the TVs and a few other minor things, but nothing of real impact. Now, all of this was from her actions and inactions regarding many years, and this one especially, but she seems so unwilling to acknowledge what appears to be a logical decision process. She will leave a stable, secure home from an obvious proven partner, her children, and such for a lifestyle of uncertainty. Is this her way of cutting all ties before she rides off into the sunset with her Collie or Ohio online AP, as a way of saying sorry for the damage, sorry for the everything? I am, in fact, going to have her leave this Sunday. Of all of my demands, reasonable ones mind you, none have yet to be fulfilled. And since she still refuses to go clear, a consequence of merit must be enacted. The damn selfies are still there on her FB page that she sent to the OM, many other things, but it is the holiday, and also I will wait till tomorrow to drop it. Days later, well, I threw down the challenge gauntlet and demanded the selfies to come down and access to her phone to prove she was clean. After being shot down, I cited my exclusive rights to the home and asked her to leave. She went to her mother's house to make arrangements to stay there, and when she returned it was obvious her mother was less than thrilled about not only needed to stay there but also the reasons why. She, the STBXW, also made it a point to still deny hiding anything, and that when this is all over then she will pursue a relationship with this OM. She then got all pissed off about me not allowing her to come and go as she pleases in the morning to get the children off to school. I cited that since she is unreliable, as well as prohibiting her from the house, will keep her free of blame in case something goes wrong or other issue in the house while I am not there to validate her innocence. On a brighter note, I did have an interview with a different role in the same department I am working now that will offer a raise in pay and more flexible hours to assist me in my new lifestyle of being a single parent. Just saying that sounds surreal. I am going to be a single father of 4 caretaking for a family demand and household while she gets to go out and party and do whatever as she pleases. I know this will in the end be a burden for her and lead to her spinning totally out of control. Of course, I have to wait. But man, just once I wanted the goddamn satisfaction of her admitting she was wrong. I know, it will never happen, and it is in the end a waste of energy. I would have given my left macadamia just to have her look at me with the courage to admit she is wrong. Time to practice what I have been preaching. Get a load of this crap. I come home from work yesterday with a little bit of excitement about seeing her move out for obvious reason, and after reminding her not to forget certain things, her anger from the previous day was not present. At one point before yesterday, she told me she was thankful for kicking her out as this was the motivation she needed to move on, so to speak, as well as letting me know her romantic intentions afterward. Now remember, this was due to me demanding to see her phone. So last night she laments how she does not want to fight, as well as having a lot of things prepared for packing, but not really done. For example, she had bins loaded, but with easy-to-pack crap, a few standalone items, but all the breakable items were still where they were when I left for work that day. Also, she still had her stuff in the van, so nothing got delivered, nor did the window she broke got fixed like she said. We talked, nothing fancy, got a recycled version of the whole find myself crap. No fooled, how she only wants the children to see her in a positive light. So, to interject, soon after this my youngest 3 came home from school and my 11-year-old asks to go for a ride, which was okay since I had to pick up my 15-year-old from a cancelled after-school event. During the ride, her told me she was very angry and yelling a lot that morning, bashing him or whoever for telling me how the mornings were going. On their own accord, mind you, all you guys do is rat me out to your father. Yes, they tell me about the yelling, screaming, profanity, bossing around, missing the bus and the attention to her game and cell phone versus getting them ready with time to spare or with everything that they need. Now back to our quiet time talk. I go more bull about many things but must have been split white compared to her mother's house, to which she is furious for leaving without her children, saying she should be fighting for them tooth and nail. I put out feelers to see about her mother's feelings towards me to see if I need to prepare for any problems from her in the future. However, this is not the case. Her mother only has anger toward the STBXW. Anywho, I kept egging away at the cell phone bit, and the new one for all you peep out there is this gem I'd show you, but there is nothing to come clean about or expose except for me because there is nobody but me and here I am. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have entered the realm of stupidity's lost area. I just laughed and laughed some more, and despite this she refused to get angry. Not really a response I was looking for. I just thought her reasoning is just too absurd to not be funny. Now this is just a guess, but I am pretty confident her feelings of independence went out the window when the reality of being forced to leave kicked in. I made no reprieve about her staying either. No phone, can't stay. She did either hide or take down the selfies though, but regardless, shouldn't have had to come to having to take this to get this kind of respect. Final update. Divorce is in final leg. Kids prefer to stay home than go with her. Still get no money from her, but have had some financial help from some of her family members. Furnace shut off in coldest February on record, but someone from my new position from work was able to refer me to people who gave me an excellent deal. I feel much better, more in control, engage in the 180 as much as practical, keep a log of her actions that pertain to me, and have worked more as of late to make more money so I can begin the climb out of this financial hole. I told her about the finality of the divorce today. Man, was she upset. A very minute issue of $250 a month from a prior pension plan, unable to be collected until 2046, was her only holdup, but alas, since she showed up to nearly none of the hearings, including the last one, her voice fell silent. I asked her to step outside away from the kids. Then she proceeded to tell me that she was going to California to see her online a piece she plans on moving there too. He even asked her to marry him. Thanks dude, I owe you one. My comment, I would highly encourage you to splurge and get her ticket. One way, you are like a boat owner. The happiest day of a boat owner's life is the day they buy the boat and the day they sell it. It looks like you were successfully doped into marrying a lizard. Her behavior is definitely subhuman. If you like this ending, hit that sub and bell button, and see you in the next marriage lessons. These are the lessons we need to learn from moving forward.